This is your Daily 5 for Monday, December 22nd, 2025. I think this may be a cursed 5. This is now my 7th attempt at doing this 5, not because I don't know what I want to say, but because something keeps happening every time I do it. I just coughed on the last one. I burped in the second one. I got the year wrong on one of them. My phone alert went off really loudly in another one. I don't even remember what happened I think I stumbled over my words on one of them. It's just a mess. But you know what? That all goes to reinforce my decision that this will be the last 5 of 2025. I am taking the next week and a half or whatever off. Because I was kind of bouncing back and forth on whether to do it or not. And then it occurred to me that most podcasts take the last couple of the weeks off in entirety. They don't do anything. And everything else about the channel is going to be the same. The Friday shows are still going to come out. The Patreon material is still going to come out. In fact, this is a pretty packed month over there with the Alien Earth stuff. The YouTube channel is still going to go. I'll probably end up doing more art streams than I usually do. So I am really not going to be concerned if I don't do, 7 5s. For the rest of the year. And I doubt many of you are going to care all that much because a lot of people travel and are busy around the holidays anyway. So why stress out about it? And, my wife's going to have time off from work. I'm going to hang out with her. So I'm not going to worry about doing these things. And like I said, I doubt anybody's going to care all that much. So yeah, that's my plan. That could also change in an hour. Something could happen and I decide, no, I actually have something to say about that. And then I reverse that policy instantly. So don't be all that shocked that happens either. But I'm not committing to anything like every day, the schedule, the way it usually is. It'll all revert back to normal in 2026. It's just like I said for the rest of this year, which is not all that long. Having said all that, I did want to take a minute and thank everybody who listens. The thing that, and I've said this before, and I mean it, the thing that is most impressive to me is not these subscriber numbers, which I can't even make sense of. Every time I look at them, which is not very often, I can't make out what they're telling me. They seem way higher than they could possibly be one month and then way lower than they should be the next. So I don't even know if those numbers mean anything. They really don't, actually. But what does is people who listen for a very long time, which we have, I think, a pretty high number of. I actually got an email, I think 3 or 4 weeks ago from somebody who's listened for a long years and years at this point. Hadn't heard from this person in a while, which is fine. But I knew the name as soon as I saw it. I'm like, oh no, I know who you are. Because this person said, I haven't reached out in a while. Oh yeah, that's fine. But that's the thing that really matters to me. And I think Lando too is, I do this too. I burn out on podcasts. I've listened to podcasts and, I listen to a bunch of them. And then within 6 months to a year, I just burn out on it. And it starts small. You miss a couple here and you don't go back and listen to them. And then eventually you just realize you haven't listened to them in a while. And the fact that people stick around, and I don't expect everybody to listen to every episode, but what I mean is that there are people who've been listening since almost the beginning of the show. I wouldn't expect anybody who was there at the very beginning to be a long-time listener because, boy, was it a train wreck the first couple of years, like 2-3 years. But meaning like year 5 and on, there are people who've been around since then. And I have no explanation for that. I mean, people say very nice things. I'm not saying that people haven't said, this is why, but I get all that from an intellectual level, but it doesn't make any sense to me as far as the fact that we're entertaining at all. So that there are long-term listeners who have been around for over a decade at this point. The show's going to be 20 years old next year, which is really mind-boggling. But the fact that people have listened for a decade plus is just, I don't know what to make of it. It's so strange to me. So I appreciate it. I hope that we can maintain whatever it is that people find interesting. I guess we can at this point, because the show has changed in some ways over the years. So hopefully it stays interesting. It's not like I'm going to stop talking to Lando even if the podcast goes away, but it's nice to know it somehow still works. And thank you very much for listening, and people who donate or just send messages or are appreciative. All that stuff matters. It doesn't have to be monetary. I say that all the time. Donations are not my measurement of whether people appreciate our show. It's just not. I think there are some people who do shows and that's their metric, is their donation levels. That's not mine. So the fact that people have stuck around, that's the thing that matters. So thank you very much for being here all this time. And I hope you have a great holiday, whatever you celebrate. I hope you have a wonderful 2026. And barring something catastrophic, we're planning to keep going for as long as we can. So until then, thank you very much for being here. And I'll talk to you again in the new year. Bye.